Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a very serious video actually, and it's time to put the beef behind us. This is a message to Viper and all the YouTube subscribers, of course. Let's talk about Dravidians. In this video, it's going to be the actual truth about the civilization. We're going to also cover Urumi Swordsman, and this is going to be the last video in this Dravidian saga that's entertained all of us so much and has caused a divide between me and Viper that's bigger than the Grand Canyon. There's actually been some irreparable dramas between me and him, and it's time to put it all behind us because it's simply not worth it. Dravidians, Urumi Swordsman. I mean, let's talk about it once and for all and put this all behind us. So to start things off, if you're not caught up with the lore on Dravidians, I made a video a while back about Urumi Swordsman being a useless unit. Viper was reacting to the video, said he disagreed, showed why Urumi Swordsman are actually pretty strong. People were taking sides. People said, okay, you know what, Urumi Swordsman not as bad as Hera says, but they're not as good as what Viper claims them to be. Then he makes some videos that he's winning with Urumi Swordsman, so I go ahead and naturally make a video talking about every single loss that Viper has had with Dravidians. And so now it's went from Urumi Swordsman, and now we're all of a sudden talking about Dravidians as a whole, and it gets really messy from there. And where are we now? Let's go ahead and talk about Dravidians for real now. This is my honest opinion about the Civ. So to start things off, Dravidians are actually a great civilization, and in that case, I think Viper's onto something. They're great at what exactly though? They're great at putting pressure on your opponent and gaining advantage through their tempo. Their best bonus is undoubtedly the extra 200 wood they get at every age. That's 600 wood, and it comes at the most important parts of the game, which is as soon as you age up, because that helps you for feudal age, helps you from castle age, and it helps you in imperial age as well. So it's a really strong bonus, and it really is the center of what the Civ is thriving at. Next, they've also got strong skirmishers, which kind of combos in with the extra wood in feudal age to let you take advantage. They've also got an extremely good naval play, and we'll talk about that in a second. Finally, they've got some really strong infantry options in late game, and since they've gotten bomber cannons, their late game is actually pretty solid. Strong skirms, full upgrade with wood steel, champions and Urumi Swordsman as options for some strong infantry, and their light cav with wood steel isn't half bad in imp in certain cases. They've also got fully upgraded arbalests, which are definitely solid in most compositions. So with all that in mind, where are Dravidians good? What do they excel at? Well, in my opinion, they excel at most water maps because their naval play is out of this world. Their naval play is actually fantastic. It's truly one of the better water map civilization, and that applies to hybrid maps as well. Anywhere that you can make a dock, Dravidians will be excellent. They get the house bonus, so if they make a dock, it also counts as a house. So it's 25 wood plus the build time. It's pretty solid, which allows you to get a lot of wood savings. They get, once again, the wood bonus, helping them in the naval play, and they also get a really good tech tree in Imperial Age for their water. It's actually a full tech tree for the water, as well as a unique ship, Theory Side-Eye, or however you say it, that's also really strong in the Imperial Age. So their water play is top tier, top notch, and it's what I consider them to be the best at. They're also good on any map where you can gain immediate advantage upon reaching another age, and that is once again present in the hybrid maps because you get to go up to the next age, you have extra wood, you get to win water, and if you win water, that gives you a huge advantage from the start. They also get their men at arm upgrades, or all their infantry upgrades through the men at arm line, or the militia line. They get them at half price. This lets them go for men at arms, and men at arms to skirm with Dravidians, also getting the 200 wood for free, is a great strategy to put the pressure in. Okay, that's all that's good about Dravidians. Now, what exactly is their downside? Okay, simply put, they have a downside that, in my opinion, makes them lose pretty much every Arabia game that they play. And it's a hard thing to abuse, but the higher up you go in the ladder, and the more you really think about it, the more you'll come to realize that Dravidians have an obvious weakness, in that they die to knight skirm compositions basically 9 out of 10 times. The reason why they always die to knight skirm composition is because they lack knights of their own, so therefore they cannot match your knight skirm composition. They also don't have redemption monks, so if the knight skirm composition turns into a knight skirm siege push, they don't have monks to actually defend properly, so they can use some monks to convert the knights, they can go for their own defensive mangonels, but they don't have a single option that pushes it all back. They also don't really have the tools to make a push of their own and prevent you from getting to the knight skirm composition. Sure, they can kill you in early feudal age, but if they're not able to do that, then they kind of fall off. And also, the reason why they can't kill you in feudal age is because you usually just go scouts into skirms yourself, or skirms into scouts, whichever one you want to go for, depending on how the Dravidians open, and you can survive the feudal age, always play defensive if you need to, and then just get to castle age and know you have that win condition with knights and skirms. They don't have enough tools, since they don't have bloodlines, to push on you in feudal age and to force a late feudal age win. It's either they win early feudal age, or it kind of fizzles out, goes to castle age, where the civilization just has a huge problem dealing with this composition. And so most of the times on land maps, what you encounter is you'll have a lead in the early game, then you get to castle age, and if your opponent's on knight skirm, you either have to get into like skirm pike as Dravidians, which is super awkward, or you have to just defend with monk, siege, and skirms and hope for the best. and usually that just dies to light cav running in, sniping the monk, sniping the siege, and then the knights just jumping in and killing everything. And the reason why it has to be knight skirm against Dravidian is if you only go knight siege, then they go pikes, and then they're fine. But knight skirm, they don't have a counter to it. So this obvious hole in the Dravidians' game plan is what, in my opinion, makes them a very weak civ on Arabia-style maps. If the game goes perfectly for you and you can play crossbows with mangonels, Dravidians have cheaper mangonels, it's beautiful. Dravidians have good skirms, it's beautiful. But if the game starts going south, your opponent's on knight skirm, it goes downhill very fast. So that's what I think about Dravidians. Now let's talk about the Arumi swordsman. Okay, my opinion on Arumi Swordsman, and this might be controversial, I don't think it's changed that much. I've actually played a game today with Arumi Swordsman, really trying to make them work, and I just don't think the unit's good at all. Maybe I was a bit too harsh when I said it was useless. Maybe. I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Viper. But I do think that the unit is just not as good as it should be. And that's because it has 0 pierce armor, even the elite version. A unit with 0 pierce armor, listen, it dies to skirms. Simple as that. It has 4 pierce armor with all upgrades. Skirm has 3 plus 4. It does 3 attacks, since it has 7 attacks. Minus 4 is 3. So a skirm doing 3 damage, an arbalest. How much does arbalest do? An arbalest does 6 damage a hit, firing really fast. So the Arumi Swordsman just literally dies to every single range unit on the planet. Like, simple as that. Hand cannoneer, heavy CA, skirms, arbalest. And range units are unfortunately what make up Age of Empires for the most part, because especially in late game, if you're only playing a melee unit composition, pathing issues just come up and it's a disaster. And melee units have a hard time like forcing engagement. So most of the time your composition will have a range unit. And so in theory, you can go Arumi Swordsman and then skirmishers to deal with the range units, but that composition just dies to skirms basically, because the Arumi Swordsman can't engage onto skirms as long as there's like a few arbalests behind the skirms or a few heavy CA or something behind the skirms to make sure Arumi can't overrun them. Then you can't force on your opponent, and if you can't force on your opponent with the Arumi Swordsman, then your gold unit is just sitting there doing nothing and taking damage from skirms. So the issue for the Dravidians or for the Arumi Swordsman in late game is that they simply die to every range unit, and they're not powerful enough to where they can force the issue and overcome that weakness. They're also really bad against buildings because they don't really get anything special there. Their charge attacks doesn't work on buildings. And so what is this unit actually used for? Like, if the Arumi Swordsman isn't useless, then what is it? That's my question. What is the use of the Arumi Swordsman? I feel like I'd rather champion 10 out of 10 times. Champion is cheap to get for the Dravidians, and it also has an extra 2 pierce armor just naturally, and you don't need a castle to make it. So the only situation where Arumi Swordsmen are good is pretty much against Eagle Warriors or against Huskarls. Against really weak infantry that's supposed to be anti-range infantry, I think the Arumi Swordsman collapse those guys. But aside from that, I don't see a good use for this. So for me, Dravidians, this is the truth. It's a decent civ, has strengths and weaknesses, but the Arumi Swordsman is a very subpar unit, and in my opinion, giving it an extra pierce armor could be really good. But I think it's interesting, I hope at least, for you guys to hear my thoughts about Dravidians and Arumi Swordsman. And I was hoping, to make this video to clarify certain things and put a little bit of a serious tone to our not so serious back and forth on YouTube. But listen, it's been a lot of fun going back and forth about Dravidians. I think this is one of the arcs on YouTube and on AoE that's been the most interesting of late, and I'm really happy to see so many of the YouTube viewers and subscribers on both sides, my viewers and Viper's viewers, actually engage with this kind of like petty drama or back and forth, however we want to call it. And it's just a whole lot of fun throughout the whole thing. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad you guys pitched in and enjoyed the videos as well. And until the next top 5 useless video, we'll see you guys later, and we'll see Viper later as well. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, and bye for now.